Hey, Crawlspacers, welcome to our ASM show. Let's introduce the cast. We've got Neil from the Beyond Corporation. He's in human HR, human relations? No, that's not human relations.
Yeah, it's human resources.
Human resources, that's it.
Yes, I'm the one that prevents all unethical experiments from going through. Expect to hear a review on this podcast later.
Hopefully we'll be fully employed. And we have Tyler. What's going on, Tyler?
Hey.
Greetings. Got a Venom shirt on. Got your new Marvel Legends Venom over your shoulder from the cartoon. That's looking good.
Yeah.
Very cool. Welcome. And we have Kelly. What's going on, Kelly?
Uber Eats ruined my day. So
oh no.
What ruined your day? I missed it. What'd she say?
Uber Eats.
Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Oh, Uber Eats. What did they not show up with the food? What happened?
Chaos. That's what happened. Just utter chaos. So
did you at least have dinner?
Well, yeah, because I had to run. I thought I was gonna be late. So my makeup's not done. Nothing, just
you look
sitting.
fine.
But yeah, so well, thank you. But yeah, so just down with Uber Eats.
I would imagine.
Public war.
So Javi couldn't make it. This is usually the satellite crew, which we're going to do a satellite review after this. As you listened on the last show, George is out of ASM. He's done with Marvel regular comics. He'll be back on new shows and Spider Jeopardy coming out.
Will he though?
He will. He's back. He'll be back. However, he's done, and JR has informed me he'll come back at 900. He's not picking up Spider-Man Beyond. So he is out of the clones. So one of our most loyal listeners, and he's been with us for a very long time. You see him on our boards, on our comment section. Hornacek, a.k.a. Craig. Welcome, Craig, to the show. How are you, buddy?
Hello, and welcome everyone to the Assistant Editor's Month version of the Spider-Man Crawlspace.
Oh, it's not.
Wow.
The Assistant Editor's Satellite-ish episode.
This is not Assistant Editor's Month. This is the crew.
No, that's not Hornacek. That's Hobby. You're Hobby now.
You're Hobby.
Yeah.
Well, this needs to be a satellite. We build.
Yeah, you need those over your shoulder.
We build this episode as a Satellite Squad episode, and we have to make it a Satellite Squad episode. Therefore, you have to be Javi, otherwise it doesn't work. You're breaking the narrative.
We're secretly taking over the Crawlspace panel by telling Marvel, get rid of Peter Parker, makes the books worse until the regular people will stop appearing on the podcast. Spoiler alert.
Then they might actually do that permanently. So let's.
Oh, I know. Yeah, they want the long timers gone.
Yeah, we weren't thinking too much well in this plan.
When I leave, the show's done.
No, the end result is you go into a room and you see whoever's puppet mastering CB Sapolsky, and he says, "You may not like my methods, but you can't argue with results."
No.
I mean, Ava's taking over this in the future.
Craig,
right?
I want to hear your history with the Crawlspace. When did you first join or log on to it?
Well, like very many people on the call-in shows say, I found the Crawlspace through JR's website. I was on Google and I was searching for Spider-Man's information, and I found JR's website, and at the very bottom it said associated with or with Spider-Man Crawlspace. So I just clicked the link, and I'm like, oh wow, here's a web page or a website all about Spider-Man. And back then, I think you still had the daily newspaper strip, which was something from my childhood that I always read in the paper. So that was something that kept me coming back. And eventually I discovered the podcast. And I've still told this before, but the very first podcast I ever listened to was where George reviewed the two porn movies, the Spider-Man one and the Avengers one. And he had to talk about how he went to the video store and would tell the very attractive woman behind the counter, these are for a website that he reviews for.
That episode has been scrubbed from the internet.
Yeah, that's so an alternative universe.
That's not this universe that we're in right now. That episode does not exist anymore.
No, we need to, for the first episode of What If Season 2, what if George reviewed a porno?
Jeez. Okay. What year was that? Like 09, 08, Craig?
It may be. I once knew. I'm sure I looked it up when you had the first call-in show, but it's long gone out of my memory.
That's funny. All right. Well, I appreciate you joining us, man. You've been on many a call-in show, and you're always great. So you're also a Canadian brother to Tyler. So
Yes.
with 2 Canadians in the house, 3 Americans.
So
here we go.
War.
This means war.
You've upset the balance.
It's part of the slow Canadian takeover of the Crawlspace.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
couple
Milo,
more.
thanks for the super chat in the UK. Won't be able to watch the stream, but here's money.
Thank you.
And I did the conversion. A $1.79 is $2.40 in the UK. So thank you for the $2.40. Mr. Comics, everyone, good to see you.
Hey,
Mr. Comics has a problem. He's currently listening to Crawlspace Podcast 393. I need more podcasts. I'm running out of them to listen to. Dude, we are at episode 715. You've got 400 more if you want them.
I'm not even up to 393 in my re-listen to post the funny quotes, so that's a long ways off.
Hornacek goes through our old podcasts and finds funny quotes, and my God, I think I said some of these things, and we're funny sometimes.
What do you mean you think you said some of them? Hornacek really puts in the script.
He is quoting me, and I'm like, well, that I probably said that, 10 years ago. I'll believe you. You could probably put a fake quote, and I'm like, well, by God, that's probably something I'd say. Yeah.
Brad's memory.
They've all been fake.
Brad's memory's going away, guys. We have to help him.
The show is ending really soon. Though. Venkman, what's up, man? How y'all doing? Do anything interesting lately?
I went to downtown Houston, and we looked at went to the spice shop where they sell like these weird, like not weird spices, but like these kind of these custom spices.
Uh-huh. Did you make the Kessel Run?
And 13 parsecs.
I know, right?
But a parsec's distance, not even his time.
Trayvon in the house.
And George
what's up,
Lucas
man?
doesn't care.
Mr. Comics says, looking great, K-Day. Hornacek in the house. Hello, Crawlspace fam. I'm not putting that comment up. Mary says, woohoo, good to hear from Hornacek. Sad about JR, though. I know, Mary.
Yeah.
We even have a bit of Goblin news that we're going to talk about a little bit, and I would like his thoughts on it. SoFlo, quote, just because you're not the sharpest color in the box doesn't make your wife a Batman villain, unquote. George B. Yes, I think George said that to me once.
I literally listened to that episode 2 days ago.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Now that George and JR are no longer doing the review show, what should their memorial music be? I'm thinking Only Time and In the Arms of an Angel.
Okay,
it's for George. It's got to be.
They're
Walk
not
the Dinosaur.
dead.
It's got to be Was Not Was Walk the Dinosaur, right? For George.
What Kelly?
No, you're fine. I'm just saying, like JR said, he'll come back once Peter is back.
Yeah.
So we need to
he's
get
just
Peter
a vampire
out of the
going
coma.
back into his coffin.
Or his
and then you got like that, and you got the moonlight. You got the Moon Knight panel of like the phone going up. He's just reaching out.
Oh my gosh. So speaking of, I thought we'd talk a little bit about this before we get to the review, because we had a little breaking spider news over the last couple days, couple weeks. I want the panel's reaction on the new poster that came out. What do you guys think of this?
It's terrible. It's horribly photoshopped.
It is
Well, I mean,
photoshopped.
it's literally
This
all
isn't
CGI.
real?
It's literally just the exact same pose he made at the end of the trailer.
It is, right, yeah.
I love how Green Goblin's just chilling in the background.
He's so tiny.
He's very...
Finish
Like
it!
he's got binoculars saying, I wonder how this is going to play out.
It really... that's kind of rough back there.
I have to say I need to eat my words because when I was guest starring on Two Geek Girls, I got into some words because I did not believe the just casual rumor that got put out there on one of the episodes about the Green Goblin glider, because I was like, that that has to be, if it's just a glider, and we're multiversing, it's got to be a variant. Maybe it's like Ned Leeds' Hobgoblin. It can't be William Dafoe because he wasn't written on the call sheets.
Okay.
So now he could have still done everything in a green screen and just maybe was never here in Atlanta. I have no clue, but obviously I need to eat my words because clearly he's here.
Well, that was his laugh in the trailer.
Oh yeah.
and
Well, I mean, there
that
was
looks
also
like
a
his
pumpkin
suit.
bomb. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
his pumpkin bomb. Yeah. So,
Wouldn't it
and
be
I
awful if the
saw,
pumpkin
and you,
bomb and the laugh was the only thing we saw in the movie of him?
oh, that would suck,
Maybe.
wouldn't it? Well, I saw a thing from a movie theater that the new trailer is coming out Tuesday, which it would be the 16th.
Okay.
Who knows if that's true or not?
People keep throwing out dates and nobody knows. I do feel
true.
like sometime this week,
Yeah.
will probably be about accurate because they need to start selling pre-ordering tickets.
Yes. Yeah.
Since
December 17th is going to be here in almost a month.
Yeah, and Disney since COVID has only been like giving pre-orders about 4 weeks. So it's
Yeah.
about that time, which means it's about time for another trailer
Yeah.
and then to open pre-orders. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to say it might not be Tuesday. It's probably going to be Wednesday or Thursday.
Later in the
But
week,
I would
okay.
say, yeah, this week.
I'm thinking this
if at
week.
all.
Yeah.
So if you
Overall-
look at the
I think
poster, oh, go ahead, Tyler.
Well, I was just gonna say overall, I think it's a fine poster. It's like obviously the CGI isn't great but compared to Sony's other Spider-Man posters they had for Homecoming and Far From Home, this is way better than those.
Oh yeah, the one where like Iron Man is just horribly photoshopped in. It's just like a stock still.
Or
So
the boring
if
Far
you
From
look at the
Home one with
villains, we've
3
got
actors.
possibly Electro here,
Mhm.
very clearly Doc Ock. We've got some sand kicking up in the back.
Well, no, go down further down to the bottom left.
Okay, bottom left.
Look, guys, there's Mephisto in the corner right there. He's behind all of this.
I thought somebody was
Oh.
really funny with a thing on the internet. There's like Spider-Man, there's TM next to it for trademark, and someone said, "There's proof. It's Tobey Maguire. It says TM right there." I thought that was cool. So we got a Goblin, an Ock, Sandman, Electro,
No.
and how many is that? One. We need a Lizard and a
4.
Venom are the one that people are talking about that could be in there possibly.
Well, I mean, clearly
and Mysterio.
Venom's gonna be- Yeah.
Yeah, Venom's gonna. I guarantee you that Sony would not pass up the opportunity. to throw Venom.
Venom's a post credits. I don't think
Yeah,
Venom's not
really?
gonna be in the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
We
they're
literally
gonna
talked
wait
about
for
this.
another they're gonna wait for another crossover.
Yeah, they want a Venom versus Spider-Man movie. That's what they
Yeah.
want.
Tyler, I so
Yeah.
see that. You're very, very true. Very.
It's going to complement the end credit scene from the second Venom movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shoot,
What if it's just the same one over again?
right? Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Just in case you
they've
didn't see it.
always Sony has always wanted a Sinister Six movie, and so I feel like this is kind
Mhm.
of their way of getting that essentially. Because let's see, if they're bringing back Lizard, then they're probably going to have the Vulture. If they could have
Yeah.
gotten anybody on, I would hope. But like that was
Yeah.
like they were filming at the same time Flash was starting the film, and I know he's going to be Batman. So I don't know, but I would assume
The
they're going to have a Sinister Six movie. It's a
Guaranteed,
multiverse
yeah.
Sinister
Yeah.
Six movie at least.
yes. Another piece of news that came out yesterday was the new animated series Spider-Man: The Freshman Years. I'm assuming is he bit? Do you think, or is
Yeah.
I assume this takes place in the 6 months before Civil War, because he's
Okay.
Spider-Man for 6 months. So
Mhm.
we're probably going to see his origin. They're
We're probably gonna
show
see Uncle Ben.
finally.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I
Come on,
actually
Steve
watched.
Buscemi.
I actually watched. And there's what Peter looks like, which is very nice, an homage to the Ditko
Yeah.
Peter.
Yeah, I like the art
So-
style.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
I think who was it that was announced? It was Leonardo Romero was announced as the lead character designer.
Yeah, I
don't
believe
know.
so.
You know, there's a lot of talented people working on it. So
Hmm.
It's got to be better than the last few Spider-Man animated series, which were.
I mean,
rough.
Paul Dini was a writer on the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, so just because of his talented people doesn't really mean a lot.
Yeah.
I have a little bit more faith because this
Mm.
is for Disney Plus and it's within
Yeah.
that MCU.
The not
Umbrella.
creative committee.
Yeah,
You know-
they're
Yeah.
trying.
You know, I actually watched today the Spider-Man What If episode of the Zombies. And that episode, I haven't seen all the what ifs, but that episode had several things in it that I like. He mentioned Uncle Ben.
Wow,
He
he
talked-
mentioned him. Wow.
He mentioned him. And he
It's
talked
better
to the
than anything else we've gotten in the MCU. Okay, Neil.
I know.
Did
And
he
he
throw his
freaking
briefcase
talked to the
away?
Hulk. He's never talked to the Hulk in the movies. So that it was like the episode was written for me. I was like, thank you.
Were there
But
two giant
anyway.
balls that he was holding apart, like on the
There
Marvel?
was a giant
team-up
wall.
cover?
Oh, and Marvel
I like
Team
that.
Up Annual 2. Yes, my first comic. Yes. Okay, the other bit that I want to get to before we get to the reviews, this was just added. I put this up on the site yesterday. So there's a girl, Queen Goblin, not the Green Goblin, and also the Slingers are coming back. What the heck with Hobie?
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
So this was like back in King in Black. Like Hobie became the new Hornet, right?
Oh, he's the Hornet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Hornet, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
can I just point out a fact before we go all into Queen Goblin that there was
Yeah.
a Goblin Queen in the MC2 in Spider-Girl
Oh.
as the first kind of female Goblin
Oh.
versus this, and I'm like, literally, they just switched the names around, and like they just switched the
Oh,
words around
really?
for her name. Yeah, and I'm like, that's
Wasn't,
so freaking weird, and
Yeah.
I'm confused. Do we know who this is officially?
No.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, what was her name? That was
Lily
Lily Hollister.
Lily Hollister.
Menace.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
She's now
Yeah.
in Black Cat as some
Queen Cat.
Queen
Yeah,
Cat.
she's the
Yeah.
Queen
Yeah.
Cat. Yeah.
Yeah. Any
I mean,
guesses who this is? My
So-
guess. How about Norman's wife,
Emily Osborn.
Emily Osborn? How about that?
Wasn't
Yeah.
she-
So what?
This has
Well,
got to
I
be
mean-
Maxine Danger, right?
yeah,
Maxine
maybe.
who?
The CEO of Beyond Corporation.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, that's kind of. I have a feeling. We'll talk about it when we're breaking it down. But yeah, it could definitely be Maxine.
Yeah.
Ah,
kind
that's
of-
pretty good.
it could
I've
be
heard a
anybody, really.
I've heard a theory that it's Liz Allen.
No, she can't go
No.
that crazy.
Uh,
There we go. There's a couple.
she runs
I
Alchemax.
honestly have no idea who it is, but I do honestly like her design quite a bit.
Yeah, like if you look at the Pat Gleason, it's really good.
What?
I'm
what
hope-
this one right here, where it
Yeah,
shows all
yeah.
the different stuff.
Yeah.
Well, she's got goblin heads for knee pads. She's got.
They're symbiote heads. Tyler pointed
They
out.
are symbiote heads. And
Little
then
symbiote
what are these
faces.
things? This like two
They're
pumpkin
like
bobs on a
maces.
on
Yeah.
a baton.
Pumpkin
Tilt your
pumpkin
head.
cabal.
Yeah, and they can go out into like chains too.
Do you remember
Of
American
course.
Gladiators, where they had those
Oh
things?
yes, I remember American. So if I Google Kelly,
God.
Goblin Queen Spider Girl,
I was gonna
Yeah.
say you're. I
Yeah,
was about to say
yeah,
you're-
you'll find Alon. Yeah.
Oh, I remember her. Yes, let's take a look. She
Yeah.
was very green and copy image address. Put
Well,
it
I
here.
mean, she's not green
There-
when she's out
there's-
of her costume.
There she is. Who did she end up being?
Well, I mean, you see her before you ever see her as in her goblin form. It's Alon Dewan. Do
Okay.
you remember back with like the goblin cult?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's where she came from. Basically, the cult never died, and she
Mm.
grew up in said cult as their queen because Norman, the grandfather with no parental rights, promised her father Normie and hers hand in marriage and basically like married them off when they were toddlers.
Oh.
And so she just shows up.
Rearranged marriage.
Yeah, and then she just shows up like, "Hey, I'm your wife," and he's like, "What the heck?" and goes to his stepfather, Foggy, in this universe.
That's
and
right.
it's
Yeah.
Like, we need to get this fixed. What is this? Is this even real?
That's
'cause
been a
she just-
minute, but I remember that. Yeah.
Gung-ho on it. Yeah, and then of course, obviously, it doesn't work out for her. So then she gets mad, and she's the reason why he turns into Dusk or whatever you want to call him. Why he gets the Venom
There you go.
symbionite towards the end. Yeah. Well, that's an amazing. Yeah, she doesn't really super go away, but
Yeah. And is
I
that
like her.
is that Norman behind her right there?
No, I think that's her dad.
Oh, it looks
Or,
like
no,
Osborn
no,
here.
no, 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 that's
Harry,
not,
I'm honoring you with a
either-
Fu Manchu.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
it's
was just
either
gonna
her, it's either her dad or it's Simone's, who's like the bully in May's school. It's Simone's
Okay.
dad. I just can't remember.
Huh.
And that looks like the arranger on the bottom left.
hmm
Oh,
Yeah,
and
that
she-
was towards the end of Amazing in that panel.
I remember she took on the very first Goblin glider from ASM 14 that she was riding. That's
Oh,
cool. I
original
forgot about
broomstick.
that. That's cool. Anyway, there has been a Goblin Queen before over in the MC2 universe. This is not a new thing.
Nope.
So everything, and Ben's not a new thing either. So everything old is new again. Actually,
Everything old is old, but just with a new coat of paint.
everything old is
Brought to you by Sherwin-Williams.
No, it's brought to you by editors who read books in the '90s. Is what this is. What it's proving to me.
Well, I love because I remember back in 2015, it was like if the '90s kids took over, everything would be fixed in comics, and now we have the '90s kids running comics, and now things are worse.
My goodness. All right, so we have 3 issues on this episode that we want to tackle. ASM 76, 7, and 8. And let me pull up my tab for this one. We're going to let the new kid start this one off. Craig, take me through ASM 76 for me. Give me a little review of it, a little synopsis.
What? This is news to me. I didn't know I was had to do anything. Oh, just
okay.
What?
All right.
Well,
here
the
we
new
go.
kid fails. Yeah.
you got to carry this now. This is your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Ad-lib.
Here we go. Amazing Spider-Man number 76, also known as Legacy
877.
877, written
Yeah.
by Zeb Wells, artist Patrick Gleason. It's a beautiful cover showing Spidey and MJ in the hospital. It's also a brutal depiction of the United States healthcare system with the couple alone.
Wait.
Ayo!
Nice
Hey.
shot at us, Canada.
I mean,
I like
fair though.
It
Fair.
is
empty
fair. I'll give
hospital
him
It's
that.
room.
accurate. It's accurate. It's a low blow, but it is accurate. So I will
Yep.
give him that.
No doctors,
Nice.
no nurses, no furniture, no windows, total darkness, with Peter's life hanging by a literal
That's
frame.
because they're in the back writing
And
the bill.
an $80,000 bill hanging
Yes.
hanging in the receipt.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
here's a good question. Does Peter have health insurance?
Probably
He's
not.
he's in massive credit card debt per 75.
Now,
so
wait a minute.
God,
How do,
no.
you know, this
Parker
may work in his
Industries?
benefit. They may not. Oh, he has the mask off in the hospital. Never mind. He's getting the bill.
Did Parker Industries offer medical, I wonder? Oh,
I
No,
mean,
that
that's
collapsed.
defunct. That
I mean, it's gone,
Yeah.
so that doesn't mean anything.
yeah.
yeah.
Hornacek,
All right.
what happens if you go to the hospital with no health insurance?
Man, I've never had to go to the hospital, so although I am proud of Canadian healthcare, I know very little about it. Like most Canadians,
You just
Tyler,
know
what
it's better
happens
than you just know it's better
Tyler,
than ours.
when you go to the hospital without health insurance? I don't. Well, you probably have health insurance, but what happens if hypothetically if you
Fine,
don't?
they just fix you. That's just how it
That
works.
doesn't happen here. Yeah.
Wait,
I think
wait, you guys
everyone
get-
in town shows up and pays for it out of their own pocket, like at the end of
No,
the
that's
Frank
It's a
Capra movie.
Wonderful Life. What are you talking about?
No, wait, that's just a GoFundMe. We have that in America too.
People
You
just
just
go.
have to
Podcast,
GoFundMe
we're doing
all your
healthcare
hospital
jokes.
bills.
Oh, what?
People just lean
I
out the
know.
window and go, "Craig's in the hospital." They're like, "What? Craig's in the hospital? Let's go!"
Sound the
And they all-
alarm!
and they all run to the hospital.
And then
I-
cardiac
I-
shows up. Yeah.
I mean, I
It's
will say
cardiac
with
bursting through in
MJ,
this cover.
What,
yeah,
Kelly?
I will say with MJ being an actress, like that GoFundMe should get covered pretty quickly on her social
Oh, yeah.
media.
Yeah, this
There
should have
you
been
go.
like top news on Entertainment Tonight, or
Spider-Man
Spider-Man in the hospital. No, they would.
MJ Watson's boyfriend in the hospital.
Is MJ ready to move on to a new man? See page 3.
Okay,
her,
Craig,
her
take
old
me
flame,
through the
Jimmy Carr,
issue.
back
What
in the
happens?
picture.
Anyway, I haven't even got past the cover, and we're already off of this.
I know, right?
Good.
Okay.
Welcome to the show.
Yes. So on the credits page, it's just your standard stuff, but I will call attention to the very top where it says, it recaps the origin, and it says Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive spider, and
Yeah.
Peter Parker's Uncle Ben died. Nothing to do with this issue, but let's just remember that when we get to the following issues.
Yeah.
So we get to the first page where Aunt May gets a phone call from someone claiming to be Peter, who says, "I'm hurt, I'm at the hospital." Aunt May is smart enough to realize that wasn't Peter. Now, longtime readers of Spider-Man will know that this is not the first time that Ben Reilly has called Aunt May and pretended to be someone else.
Yep.
Back before the 90s Clone Saga, there was a mysterious stranger that was calling Aunt May, and she's called him her old friend, and they had a long relationship.
Yep.
Once he appeared, and that was Ben Reilly, we never found out anything more about that relationship. I was always curious how that started, and obviously, since Ben sounds exactly like Peter, he must have disguised his voice when he was talking to May on the phone all those years. And I'm just wondering, did he use an accent? Did he use a voice modulator? How did he disguise his voice? But
I think he
it was-
called the actress Aunt May actress. That's no, I just
so we never found out.
Yeah.
I do like on this page that Aunt May has a landline old-fashioned phone with a pad of paper and a pencil next to it. Very age appropriate.
Very age appropriate. Yeah.
It's a pretty nice landline. I mean,
Yeah,
By the way,
that's an office phone.
I watch Me TV, and on Me TV, there is this Hornacek. Get ready for this. I sidetrack all the time. So on Me TV, there is this ad for a commercial, and it has a thing on it. It's a landline for seniors, and it prints the text of what they're saying on.
Help! I fallen and I can't get up.
Well, no, that's Meta Alert. That's Meta Alert. This is a phone that takes the voice and does dictation onto the phone, and the actress who plays the grandma is Kathy Garver, who is Firestar, who I've interviewed.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, I love it when Billy calls home. I see this and I'm like, Firestar is selling these things is what I see with my brain. Anyway,
say Angelica Jones, please.
I know.
I miss my friends.
He's lying.
That was
He's
dark.
lying.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, Ben's in the hospital. We can see that he was the one who called Aunt May. The doctor comes and says who asks him about what his brother got into. I like
What
that
does the
they're
doctor say?
I like that they're continuing Ben being Peter's brother. Ben tells him that Peter's been exposed to ionizing radiation, which is in the Marvel universe probably happens all the time. All of a sudden, Hurricane NJ shows up at the hospital, wanting to know what's going on. You could tell that she's hurried here because her jeans are all ripped up. She obviously fell down and tore them up a bunch of times. She tells
It's
the doctor
called
that
fashion, Craig.
I don't know. It just seemed very cold. She tells the doctor that Peter called her, but the doctor says that's impossible. Peter's unconscious in the room, and he says it must have been his brother. And he's like, "Where his brother is gone?" And you see that Ben has left his phone on the chair, and this shows that Ben is completely reliant on the Beyond Corporation because what 20-something leaves their smartphone behind when they leave a building? That's
I
very
think it was
most
Peter's
unbelievable
phone.
thing.
I believe it was Peter's phone.
Oh, bye, Brad.
Bye, Brad.
Oh,
Craig,
lose
Craig,
that?
continue. Sorry, I just
Okay.
wanted to point that out, that I believe that it was actually Peter's phone, and it's not Ben leaving his phone. It was Ben
Okay.
called through Peter's phone, and then
Yeah, it was
posted.
Peter's phone.
Yeah.
Okay, I just saw that Ben had the phone out and he was sitting in a chair on page 2, and then in the next we see that same. I thought that was the same chair, and we see the phone. But no, you're probably right.
Yeah. Well, like I said, he basically took it from Peter and then was calling for help while he got Peter out of his Spider-Man
Oh,
costume and is trying to rush him to the hospital.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, which is, I guess, a lesson for Peter: always lock your phone so that other people can unlock it.
I mean, if it's Face ID, Ben can unlock it.
Yeah,
Or
or
fingerprint
if it's
scanner.
fingerprint because he's a clone.
Oh man, the technology's gonna ruin everything. So suddenly Peter starts convulsing. We get a nice full-page panel of Peter in the hospital bed. At first, I thought these waves emanating
Hi.
from his body. Oh,
Hey,
my heart!
The audio recording is going to make no sense. I don't know where Brad's going to go, hi! And everyone's confused.
Don't worry, Brad. I'll
Sorry.
edit all this out.
Sorry, my health, all the healthcare jokes made my internet die. So I have a conspiracy theory going. No, I'm back. Okay, what did I miss?
So MJ showed up at the hospital.
Got
Peter starts convulsing. The waves coming off of his body represent the spider sense, and it's basically the spider sense is like the cops calling in a horror movie saying the danger is coming from inside your body. Get out of your body.
Truth.
Meanwhile, at Beyond Tower, we see that Marcus is talking to Janine, and he tells her to impress upon Ben the importance of staying in contact. Ben arrives and he's chewed out for removing his costume without telling Beyond. Ben sounds like he's in the army here, like this is he's being ordered around and not like this is not an equal partnership. Ben says that the other guy had a problem. So I was wondering, does the Beyond Corporation know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man? Like, how much do they know about?
They don't.
Because he keeps on saying the other guy and he doesn't say that his name. But you would think that, do they know he's a clone because Peter Parker is a worldwide known person from Parker Industries and a photographer. So just from the hair alone, you think they'd be able to figure out, we know Bennett's a clone. Oh, look, here's a guy who's identical to him except for the hair color. I was just curious.
I think Kelly and I are going to say the same thing, but legally, even if they do know, they don't want to, just because it causes them a bunch of trouble.
I guess they don't care, but it seems like Ben is trying to protect Peter's identity, even though he doesn't seem to have. Oh, sorry, Kelly, go ahead.
No. Basically, all I was going to say though is in terms of tech, especially a failed business, that's not going to be common knowledge. It's not like he was sitting there in the gossip mags either. So they're not going to know what Peter looks like, and they're not going to realize that he's related in any way if he's not telling them. And he's clearly not telling them to keep Peter's secret safe.
That's a good point, because in Parker Industries, Spider-Man was the mascot, and Peter was kind of just ancillary.
Yeah. I mean, not to mention, there's other people with spider powers who obviously look nothing like Peter. They got Silk, Miles, so that doesn't even guarantee they're related or anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
Real quick, TK Tunstall says Brad's gone every way cuss. Did you guys just dropping F-bombs left and right?
Actually,
we were good.
We were good. I didn't even mention
You just did. Okay. Vinkman says Brad's internet was getting back at him for constantly derailing the review show when he knows he has a satellite show in less than an hour. That's okay. We're fine.
Yeah.
Ryan's here. What's up, Ryan? Okay, keep going. Ben and is being consoled. It's okay, baby. What happened?
It's okay. So basically, Marcus tells Ben that he has to go stop the UFOs later. Not because that they're supervillains that could kill people, but because Ben letting them go makes Spider-Man and beyond look bad. So Janine speaks for the readers here and says that she doesn't like Marcus. Ben tells Janine that something has happened to Peter, and which made me wonder, what does Janine know about Peter? I don't think they ever met because Janine was in the Lost Years or all that stuff. I'm guessing that Ben probably told her about him, but I'm assuming that Janine and Peter never met and have no relationship.
I don't think they have,
yeah. So I mentioned Hurricane MJ arriving at the hospital. Here comes Hurricane Aunt May. She arrives in, I guess she's not really a hurricane here. She's more like, oh my goodness, what's happened to Peter? Peter's conscious at this point. He talks to them. MJ covers for him by saying he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Aunt May wants to go see Peter's doctor. She says she won't rest until she knows Peter's getting the treatment he needs. I'd like Aunt May here. She's upset about Peter's condition, but she's not breaking down. She's going to go find the doctor and browbeat him until she's convinced that Peter's getting the best care possible.
Well, she just beat breast cancer, so she's ready to take on some docs and whatever challenges she has in front of her.
Depending upon which hospital this is.
She beat American healthcare.
if I don't know if this is the same hospital, but maybe she's like, I know some of the doctors here. I know some of the people.
Right. I was just in a satellite book in this hospital. Yeah.
Tom Taylor wrote them.
Hospitals are huge in America. There's too many different departments, so she probably wouldn't know who's in this area that seems to be like ICU.
Yeah, that's true. She was probably in a cancer unit, and this is the ER, probably. So yeah. And Ryan says characteristics of May and MJ were great in this issue. I would agree. I like both of them. Were dead on.
Yeah, they were both good. Meanwhile, back at the Legion of Doom, Beyond headquarters, Ben is talking with those two long-standing members of Spider-Man supporting cast, Misty Knight and Colleen Wing. They're showing him new weapons for his suit when he goes and fights the UFOs. Ben is distracted thinking of the other Spider-Man, and of course, Marcus, speaking for Marvel, tells Ben there is no other Spider-Man. Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
In a rare moment of telling Beyond that they're not the boss of him, Ben says he'll be back in an hour and leaves without permission. Back at the hospital, the doctor tells Peter that him being conscious is a good sign. He leaves to go save the radiologist from Aunt May, and then Ben shows up, and MJ is not happy to see him. We get a nice panel of her giving Ben the stink eye. Ben kind of looks smug in this panel, so I don't know if that was intentional or not.
I'm trying to get it. Hold on a sec. Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
he looks. Yeah, that's. I like MJ looking
almost
at him
like he's dozing off like Jughead would in the old Archie comics.
Yeah,
I love the look on this. No, you can't leave Peter in the hospital covered in radiation. Haha, Beyond Corporation go brrr.
I mean,
what the?
I feel like it's just a weird. It almost feels like maybe the pencils got colored over slightly too.
Mm-hmm. yeah.
Oh, yeah, like
that's
Ben, like
looking
Ben,
a bit
like,
weird.
like Ben was supposed to be looking away in guilt or something.
Yeah, and I think then the colorist went over some of that
Mhm.
slightly because that's the scene that happens after that wouldn't make sense for him to be so smug.
Yeah.
It almost looks like he's sighing in this panel, which was probably not the
Well, he's got his
intention.
eyes closed in this panel
MJ,
too.
Mhm.
So yeah.
yeah. So I was curious by this. When is the last time MJ saw Ben? Did she see him at all in Clone Conspiracy, or was it back after
No.
the 90s Clone Saga?
I think 90s.
Because in the 90s
Yeah.
Clone Saga, MJ and Ben were good.
Yeah, but
so I'm guessing all that
she's-
goodwill has gone.
She's heard about his crap.
I mean,
Yeah.
She heard
I
she's
imagine
gotta
Peter
hear
has
about the
told her,
jackal
like,
thing.
Imagine
12
hearing
years.
Imagine hearing secondhand that like your boyfriend's clone came back as the jackal and tried to resurrect everybody, but they were all being kept hooked on drugs so that
Yeah,
they
she's
could.
not. She's not
and,
gonna like
and
Ben
then he
after that.
stabbed his other clone brother at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just care about Kane.
I care about King.
Yeah.
You're not MJ though.
And as Peter's telling MJ all about this, MJ says, "This is starting to sound like a bad comic book plot." So anyway, Ben tells Peter that he wants his blessing to be Spider-Man. So in a rare moment of clarity, Ben realizes that in the previous issue, that when he told Peter that he wasn't asking to be Spider-Man, that was a bad move. So now he's asking for his permission. And in a panel where Peter is obviously speaking for himself and in no way speaking for the new brain trust of writers, Peter says that Ben deserves to be Spider-Man. I can't help but think that this decision by Peter is 100% based on the fact that he's in the hospital dying. Otherwise, he'd probably tell Ben, "No, I'm still Spider-Man. Nothing's changed since last issue." Ben thanks Peter, but before Ben leaves, Peter reaches out to him and says, wait, one more thing. And he says, "Be greater." And then the phone rings, and it's Sony PlayStation's lawyers with a cease and desist order preventing them from using the tagline from the 2018 PS4 game. So Peter says, "Okay, be amazing." And I'd like to think that the Brain Trust went through all the other options from all the other Spidey books: be spectacular, be web of, be adjectiveless, be nonstop, and they finally
Be
just
team
went
up,
with-
yeah.
Yeah, be team up or be amazing was what they.
I mean,
came up
you
with.
don't think editorial said that they needed to write this specific like scene in here with the amazing because he's going to be the amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah.
I think that Peter saying "be adjectiveless" was a little too on the nose.
But this really feels like Marvel is saying we have to have Peter be okay with Ben taking over.
You know what Peter should have said is like, "I could sell this book in the hospital. I don't need you, Clone Boy." He could have said that, but I don't think that would have went over as well.
We'll call it General Hospital, but the copyright lawyers. won't
No,
let us do
Spider-Man.
it.
All the villains come to Spider-Man's room. He beats them up. They gets them out. Yeah.
So Ben leaves very happy. Peter tells MJ that he can't feel his body. Meanwhile, Ben is outside changing into his Spider-Ben costume completely in public, seemingly not caring at all about anyone finding out that he's about his secret identity. In the next page, we get a nice split panel where half of it is Peter seizing up in the hospital bed, and the other half is Ben representing the MCU Spider-Man being without his mask off. I really felt that they should have had these two panels flat together without any white space and really been like half right on the nose. So we could have had like a completely half and half of Peter and Ben making up one.
That would have been good.
Person. But there's just a little artistic nitpick on my point. The doctors rush in, but Peter realizes that his body is the danger and is trying to shut down to save him, and he slips into a coma. And if you've ever watched a soap opera, you realize that whenever they don't know what to do with a character, they put them in a coma, and they realize we'll figure out what to do with the actor in a few months.
AKA, we'll get him out of the coma in 900.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Peter's
know he's coming out before that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I know.
I don't
but this
think
is-
that was necessarily a similar situation. This was more, they knew that if they had another brain trust with Peter, the fans would be more upset than they already are. And this was kind of their solution of being able to do something different without touching the character
that's
for when they get a writer.
Yeah.
So Peter's last thoughts are gotta escape gotta go away. And there's a close-up of Peter's eye, and this could just be nothing, but there's a weird red smudge on Peter's eye, and I zoomed in with my camera, and it looks like a little tiny face. We see a close-up of the face in the second panel where it says "Gotta get away." I don't know.
There
if
is
this is.
there is an eye.
I don't know if
just
this is
assumed that
anything
was Mary
mystical.
Jane looking down at him. Like
Is that Mary
like
Jane?
Go in the next
Maybe
panel,
it's
and
a-
that's like the
yeah.
same angle from
But
above.
the hair is all flowing like she's upside down, hanging from upside down.
Yeah,
Maybe it is MJ.
That's- It's
I
her.
thought it was. I thought it was. I kind of thought maybe it was Peter, like his conscience kind of slipping away
Yeah.
into the bloodstream. I guess I don't know.
I was
That
wondering
is
if it was
trippy. I didn't
supposed
notice
to
that.
represent his soul, maybe like escape, because it says "gotta get away." So it's like his consciousness trying to escape his body, which is killing him. I don't know. Who knows? We'll find out in number 899 where Peter comes back in the following issue. We cut back to those classic Spider-Man enemies, the UFOs. Vapor, X-Ray, Ironclad, and Vector, and I have to admit I had to go look up those names on the Marvel Wiki.
Ironclad looks a lot smaller than he usually does that panel.
Yeah, he's Hulk size usually.
Brad's so upset that you didn't know who the UFOs were.
Well, a
Dude,
couple of the
they're
names
one of my
are
favorite
mentioned
Hulk
here,
villains.
but-
he's
yeah,
he's hiding his contempt.
yeah,
It's okay. The UFOs haven't been around much since the 80s,
Yeah.
and they were cool fighting Hulk back in the day. I loved it. But
I was surprised to find out on the wiki that they were basically they were trying to recreate the Fantastic Four's powers, like 4 people, one woman, and they were trying to say, hey, let's expose ourselves to cosmic rays and become the FF. You learn something new every day. In this scene, I can't tell if they're on a job or they're just hanging out. I like to think that this is their headquarters and they're just like chilling at home when all hell breaks loose here. All of a sudden, vacuum bearings are deployed against Vapor. What are vacuum bearings? I have no idea, but they seem to work. They seem to work on Vapor because they suck her up. We see a kind of a graphic image of her being ripped into multiple pieces. There's multiple bearings, so they suck her up into multiple bearings. Does this hurt her or kill her? Don't worry, it's comics. She'll be fine.
yeah,
Spider-Ben deploys lead chaff against X-Ray. What is lead chaff? Well, Google defines chaff as material ejected into the air for reflecting radar waves to confuse an enemy's radar detection, which actually seems to make sense against someone called X-Ray. I'm assuming that chaff made of lead will stop him, and it does. Vector fires a blast at Spider-Ben. His blast is deflected and hits Ironclad, who is so shocked that he yells, "Gark!" G-A-R-K. I don't know if this is something that Ironclad normally says, but I think more people in comic books should say Gark.
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 It's the new Snarf.
Snarf. On the last page, we get Vector obviously terrified, saying Spider-Man, and Ben replies, hell yes, Spider-Man. And this final page is a perfect representation of the current Amazing Spider-Man readers' relationship with the book. Vector represents the readers who aren't sure if what they're reading is actually Spider-Man anymore, and Spider-Ben represents Marvel, telling the readers, hell yes, this is Spider-Man. Just keep buying this book. This is Spidey. Don't listen to those who say that Ben isn't Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Okay,
in Spider-Man
all
is
They're clearly trying to tell you that he's not Spider-Man.
By the cussing.
He has laser. He has little like laser gauntlets on his arms. That should
Well,
be
yeah,
like,
no. I'm actually being serious. Like, we'll go through the other 2 issues too, but they're very clearly trying to tell you, like, Ben is not cut out to be Spider-Man, and the Beyond Corporation is really only interested in the suit and the IP,
not the man,
and not the man, but the man is who makes Spider-Man, and it's not Ben, it's Peter. But we'll get into that. But I'm just like, you keep making that like it's a joke, and I'm like, I just want to be very clear that like the actual writing team on this Brain Trust, as much as we don't agree with it, I think are doing a really good job at what their intention is for this. It's just, this. I don't think this is pleasant for the fans or for Marvel. But this is just something that they had to do to keep. Basically, it was like
keep
the
train
position
rolling.
going. Or stop Spider-Man until they found a new person, and they weren't going to do that because money is king.
Yeah. Craig, what would you give this for a grade?
I'm trying to not just grade the issue just on like the Beyond status quo because it's the new status quo, so it shouldn't be graded for that. That being said, this is the MJ and Peter and Aunt May scenes are what's good on this. My grade is a C- at best. I'm being
C-.
generous.
Kelly, what's your grade?
Give me 1 second to pull it up. I also did a C-. I love Aunt May and her characterization here. It really feels like Aunt May. But I didn't like the story. And a lot of that is like just bias of not liking Peter being in danger and not liking him being so nice to Ben after everything, including the fact that like the reason he's like almost dying on this bed is because of Ben. So I have a clear bias on that, but I get why they needed it and what's going on. But it's, you'll see in my grades. I'm not a super fan of this story in particular, even though I know that they're trying to tell a good story.
Yeah,
but we'll get into it.
Did you say C-?
C-.
And Craig, what'd you say?
I said C- as well.
Okay, Tyler, what's your grade?
I'll give it a C+.
Okay.
I liked it a little more. Because one of the pros I liked is that I actually like the scene with Ben actually like sort of apologizing to Peter and like Peter passing it off to him because he knows he needs to right now because Peter feels himself getting worse.
Yeah.
And so just like one big like obviously I wasn't there for the review show for the last issue, but that was the big problem I had with it, where Ben's just was a straight up asshole and just like in their little convo they had. And so I did appreciate him sort of swallowing Crow and saying, "Look, I that's not how I should have handled that." And he's got, I know he's got the pressure of the Beyond Corp and everything, but I did really like him just saying, "Beyond Corp, I don't care. I'm gonna go talk to him," and just man up and saying, "I'm sorry. I do want your blessing. I shouldn't have done that." And Peter, it is a brotherly relationship. So even after all the clone conspiracy crap.
I don't know. I think the brother friendship is really strained after the clone conspiracy.
Look, it's Spider-Geddon. They're like, it's back to normal now. Don't worry about it.
He dug up his Uncle Ben, right? Didn't he?
Yeah,
This-
but he was
this-
kinda
I mean, that's a
crazy.
deal breaker. Come on.
This
I don't-
storyline almost
Ross-
feels like no conspiracy didn't happen, though.
It does. It very much feels like that didn't happen.
Well, I
What,
think
Kelly?
what I was going to say though, I mean, brothers, just any kind of familiar relationship can be complicated. So the thing is like they can be mad at each other, or technically Peter can still have a lot of trust issues and not really be too happy with Ben, but still he's going to have a kinship and he's going to want, he's not going to want, Peter being Peter is not going to want the worst for Ben either.
Yeah,
And that's kind of what I got out of that conversation.
Yeah, plus because of the whole coma situation, he feels himself slipping into it. It's not going to be like "F you, Ben," and then just suddenly go into a coma. Like it just...
I never liked you.
I never liked
Family
you.
Guy here?
Neil, what's your grade?
I'm actually going to probably have the highest grade out of anyone here. I'm going to give it a B. So my main flaw is that the kind of tossing of the hat to Ben is kind of manufactured, or kind of feels like the writer's like, okay, we kind of got to get Peter in the situation where he's forced to give Ben the status quo of Spider-Man. So let's try and do it as organic as possible. But unfortunately, status quo changes are never organic.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see Zeb Wells going like, see guys, Peter gave it to Ben, so that means it's okay.
Yeah.
Pat Gleason definitely carries this issue in terms of how the issue is framed and how it's presented. He does amazing work. There's a couple of weird panels, like we said, where like Ben's looking smug at MJ when MJ's like, Peter's in a coma, and Ben's like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever. But aside from that, I do agree with Kelly's take on that final page. It's not meant to be like a middle finger to the fans. It's more meant to be that, like, Ben's got like this superior Spider-Man gauntlets and like smoke coming out of them and swearing, and he's going like, hell yeah, I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's clearly meant to be like something is wrong here. You're not supposed to be like, you're not supposed to take this as like a hell yeah, let's go moment. You're supposed to be going, wait a minute, something's not right here kind of moment.
Like on the
So
goddamn
you
Spider-Man.
gave it a B, which is the highest grade yet. I'm going to go lower
What
than
are you
Neil.
dense?
I'm going to give it a B minus. Mainly the scenes I liked, which were mentioned by someone in chat said the Mary Jane and Aunt May scenes were very much in character.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really, really nice. I like that. Mary Jane and Aunt May will come in swinging to protect their boy. I liked it a lot. I agree with everyone that said it felt forced with Be Amazing. He is kind of gullible, Peter Parker, isn't he? He thinks the best of people a lot, I think. Even if you dig up his uncle and present it to him, he tends to believe in the best of people, I think. Do you think, Kelly, you disagree?
It's his clone. It's not that I disagree. I think that is it's a misinterpretation of Peter's character. The thing is not that he is gullible or that he's naive. The issue is that like he has a big heart and he wants to believe in the best of people, and that's how his aunt and uncle raised him. He does know better, but the thing is again, like I said, Ben is basically like, I mean, he's his clone. It's basically like he's his brother. You can be angry at your brother. Like, I mean, I don't get along with my brother. I fight with him all the time. Right. But the thing is that's still my brother. If something bad was happening to him, or if something, if we were in an argument, I still want the best for him. It doesn't matter if I'm angry at him or not.
I mean, how many times did Harry try and kill Peter, and Peter was always trying to like saying, "Harry, you're my best friend. Don't do this. Don't do this." He did. So, and after multiple times.
And in the next 10 to 15 years, if Harry Osborn comes back, he'll probably say, "Welcome back, brother. It's been a minute." Is what he'll probably do.
It's like that scene in Simpsons. We thought you were dead. Nope.
No,
he's back. Vinkman, some pros that we haven't. Vinkman, I'm sorry. Hold a sec.
Wow.
I'm looking at Vinkman's comments over here, and I'm looking at Craig. Craig, your pros that we haven't mentioned already.
Hold on, I gotta make some $100 super chats like Vinkman.
Oh, yeah.
Oof.
and sorry, Vinkman, that was no way me prodding you. Just memories. As people said, all the Peter, MJ, and Aunt May scenes are my pros. Aunt May is, like I said, she's not like weeping in a corner. She's basically saying like, "Is this the best doctor? Let me go find the best doctor." And you know that she's not going to stop. Janine, in her brief scene here, we see this more in the following issues, but just in her brief scene here, we see that she seems to be the smart person in this relationship, because she seems to be the one to think there's something wrong here with the Beyond Corporation. And Ben's like, "Oh no, everything's fine." So even though I know very little about Janine, she seems to be the better one in this relationship.
Have we seen much of Janine since the out of the Lost Years? Has she
No,
been in
she's
anything
been in
else?
jail.
I know. After the Lost Years, she went to jail, and was that it? 4 issues?
Yeah.
We know that.
Wait, hang on, Brad. Did you expect like every once in a while we just cut to Janine in prison?
I don't know.
Like,
maybe she got shanked. I don't know. Maybe that was a Marvel Unlimited issue that I missed.
Yeah, Ben. No, I would have loved in David's Scarlet Spider run if Ben just goes to see it. Hey, I wonder how Janine's doing, and you just find out she's been shoved in prison. And he goes, "Well, time to be evil again."
Black. That's what happened.
Boy, that got dark.
He's with Captain Janeway. Trust me, there all the annuals where they have backups, like 10-page stories. Are you
like
sure
NX?
Janine's not been in one of those?
Time for the Janine show.
Yeah, no, in MC2, she did give birth to a kid. So
She did?
Yeah, that's Dark Devil. Riley Thine is Ben Riley and Janine's
Dark
kid.
Devil is Janine's kid? Who's the daddy?
Ben Riley.
Do you read?
Come on, Brad.
Well, wait a minute. It's been a minute since I read Dark Devil. I envision
that.
when you say Dark
read
Devil
it, and I guess
and you
that
said
was the father.
Janine, I'm like, did Matthew Murdock knock her up? Why is she dark? Why is he dark?
Brad,
No,
Brad, hang on,
okay.
Brad, hang on.
Should I explain it? It's gonna sound
No,
like
we
somebody
don't have
is
time
smoking
to explain
something.
it.
Brad, put me on solo focus. I want to show you something.
No. Okay, go ahead.
So this is the iPad when you're reading it correctly. This is you. Oh.
Wait, but an iPad will auto rotate, so that's not a good analogy either.
Yeah, but that makes it even worse because he somehow couldn't read that.
Wait. When did Dark Devil come out? The late 90s?
1999 was his miniseries.
Okay, it's been a minute.
and
It's been a
that gave
minute.
his origins.
Yeah.
But basically, just to like explain
I'm
it,
seething right now.
Riley Thine is
Okay.
the son of Ben Riley and Janine,
Okay.
and he basically had to go live with one of her family members who were very, very abusive.
Okay.
And then it wasn't a great home life with his aunt and uncle. But Kane, because of MC2 Kane likes to be the Uncle Batman that just watches in the shadows.
yeah.
He's always
Boy.
watching. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, as Riley started getting a degenerative disease, essentially, like his body's breaking down because of clone DNA, Kane tried to help him, and by helping him, he summoned a demon.
Okay.
And it's the Ghost Rider demon, and that Ghost Rider demon was like, I'm gonna take this boy's soul, and you guys can all make this Sunny in Philadelphia reference there. But the ghost of Matt Murdock suddenly shows up and goes, you can't take this boy's soul. And so they're having a constant battle inside the body of Riley Thine. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Comic
Ryan
book.
Zathros. So
Yeah.
that's why he is Dark Devil, and
Got it.
he
Okay.
can be this demonic
So,
daredevil.
did
looking-
Janine ever get out of jail, or did Ben on a conjugal
No,
visit?
From what I understand, because Ben stayed dead in C2. He doesn't come back.
He never got
How did
summoned
she
by
get
the Beyond
pregnant with him,
Corporation.
though?
Well, you see, Brad, when a
There's
clone and a
these
redhead love each other, they're
discussions- yeah, so there's these discussions, and essentially what I have determined,
Yeah.
which I know not every MC2 fan is happy with this, but the way it feels to me in that
Yeah.
is that they had basically, she was probably arrested like just before she found out she was pregnant, and was pregnant in the jail.
Okay.
And technically that would make Riley a little bit older than May,
Okay.
or a little bit younger than May, but they're about the same age. But essentially that's kind of how I figured that out.
What if Janine gets pregnant and 616?
That's possible, because that's a theory about the
Come on. Any
A
Spider-Man
married-
being a dad, Brad? Come on.
Ben being a
Spider-Man with
dad,
a
yeah.
kid?
No, you know what? They would probably allow Ben to be a dad before they
That's
allow Peter.
No.
Probably, I would agree with that.
I mean, Kane's kind of a dad, but not anymore.
Janine. So Ryan wrote a thing saying Janine gave Riley up for adoption. She didn't. He goes to his aunt and uncle, because he talks about how it's like almost the opposite of being with his, Peter being with his aunt and uncle was a great experience. Riley's was not.
Yeah. All right. Any other cons that we haven't mentioned on this one? Boy, we went into the whole discussion of Janine a little bit. I like it. I didn't know the history of her that much after those 4 issues. Any other cons that we haven't mentioned?
The Beyond Corporation is obviously evil. They're not even
Yeah.
trying to hide it. I'm assuming that they're eventually going to be revealed to be Roxxon and have like a Thunderbolts #1 reveal. Haha, we were really Roxxon the whole time.
No, they're a thing. I mean,
Yeah, I
They've
know.
already,
but-
they've been well established for a while now,
yeah.
Yeah.
since like 2005.
Most of my cons have already been mentioned. Ben doesn't seem to care about his secret identity at Beyond. I mean, assuming everyone at Beyond knows that he's really Spider-Man, or that
Right.
he's Spider-Man. The Beyond tech that he used to defeat the UFOs. We know from the 90s Clone Saga that Ben was able to create his own impacts, webbing, and stingers. Why couldn't they have given Ben a lab at Beyond and have him create this tech himself? No, he needs Beyond to do it for him. That was just something
I don't think they gave him that option.
Yeah, I know, but it would have
Yeah.
been nice just to show that, because like back in the 90s, Ben shows up and he's got impact webbing and slingers, and Peter's like, wow, I never thought to invent that. And
Yeah,
Ben's
but
like, well,
it's
I-
all
I
the
had no
Beyond
ideas.
branding, though. It's like,
Well,
here, you're taking our stuff. You're our Spider-Man.
Well, also it would create a disillusionment of freedom. If Ben has his own gear, then he's not relying on Beyond Corporation anymore.
But everything he created while at Beyond will be property of Beyond and the intellectual property rights.
He's smart enough. I think Ben is smart enough, in spite of some of the recent actions he's done, like signing up with them in the first place.
Yeah.
That like he would probably be smart enough to say, I want to have partial ownership at least over the tech I make for you guys.
Right. All
That's
right.
all I got.
We ready to move on to the next issue?
Yes.
I think so.
All right. Kelly, you've got this one.
Yep.
We have a rare word balloon on the cover. We don't see those as much as
I
we used to back in
know.
the day. Yeah.
So ASM 878 or what is this version 4?
77. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
77.
5. I don't even know.
4 or 5. It's up
Yeah.
there, man.
Yeah.
But this is an issue written by Kelly Thompson, who is currently writing Black Widow, I believe, which we will talk about on Satellites as well. And Sarah Patelli as the artist. Nolan Woodard was on colors.
Yep.
We start with the Daughters of the Dragon, Colleen Wing and Misty Knight. They are practicing field training, something Ben seemed to ask for, but now seems to be very overwhelmed by and distracted. And he kind of regrets sparring, and he even says it's his own hubris that got him in that position. Maxine Danger, who looks a lot like Maxine Gibson from Batman Beyond, just saying, closes the training down and asks the girls to go to tech and training to get fitted with proper tech to go out into the field, aka surveillance gear, for them, so the Beyond Corporation can watch them. Colleen seems to, I took it like she was almost slightly flirting with him a bit, and tells him that he's slow on his right as he follows Maxine. Maxine basically tells him that she thinks he's not taking his job as Spider-Man seriously enough, and how it's disrespectful to the Beyond Corporation and how much they've invested in him. Basic classic gaslighting from a CEO in a corporate setting. She isn't too happy that Ben's cut his kind of has made a habit into turning off his comm link and taking his suit off, which the way that came out almost was like, so do you want him to take it, like, is he supposed to shower in it, like,
Yeah,
why? He should be able to take it off sometimes. And she's not really here for excuses, that she needs him to understand that if he's really not feeling like he's cut out for this, then he needs to let them know now so they can find someone else to replace him. It's a weird conversation to also have while all of these really insane things are happening behind them, like a rabid koala and a scientist questioning everything after leaving the sandwich department.
Yeah.
Ben says he is, basically Ben answers her saying he is Spider-Man, and that pleases Maxine. So Maxine leaves him at Dr. Kafka's door for his therapy. Kafka, in one of her many faces, because she's back to looking slightly younger, talks to Ben about the weird, harrowing conversation that he just had with Maxine. And Kafka advises that they all have jobs to do, and Maxine is just doing hers. Ben goes back to talk about a memory he has of his aunt and uncle, Peter's memory, where Uncle Ben and Aunt May, basically where he decided to fix a loose step in the rain after Aunt May had fallen. Suddenly, though, Ben loses the memory and can't remember what Uncle Ben said to him / Peter. And it really scares him, because this is weird that, like, these memories that were obviously not really his to begin with start basically going missing. But Kafka doesn't seem too concerned, because she doesn't know that he's a clone. And she thinks that this is just because too many changes have happened so quickly for Ben. He just needs a day or two off to let his brain catch up to him.
Does Kafka know she herself is a clone?
Probably not.
It's a clone.
I think she does, doesn't she? Because she was in the Transamerica Pyramid during Clone.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. We'll see.
Hey Ben, you look like that guy who's dressed like the Jackal.
Yeah.
No, she wasn't part of that. She was after. She was revealed in the Ravencroft mini, and then she had no idea she was a clone.
I'd like her to say to Ben, Ben, I have a secret. I'm a clone. And Ben's like, I am too. And they're like, wow, let's hug. Let's be best friends.
Nah.
BFF.
Yeah. No. All right. So to get back to it, at McCarthy Medical Center, MJ and Aunt May are at Peter's bedside. Aunt May refuses to take her eyes off Peter, as the last time she left the room, he slipped into a coma. She asked MJ if she could call anybody, like call Stark, call all of her Hollywood connections, and get Peter better care, because she doesn't trust the doctor. And Mary Jane said she tried. She explains that she couldn't get a hold of Doctor Strange and Tony Stark, and with the editors telling you to check out their books to see why, which felt very old school, and I actually kind of like that. And MJ says that they might be on their own this time. Aunt May refuses to believe this and refuses to accept this and says she has a few house calls to make on her own. MJ tells her not to do anything too crazy because Peter would never forgive her if something happened to May, and May advises she'd rather have Peter mad than comatose and walks out of the room. As MJ sits down and starts talking to Peter, Felicia shows up at the window. At Ben's apartment, Ben comes in to see Janine for a bit, and they have a cute moment about Dr. Kafka's name and Janine expecting him to come home half cockroach, half spider. Their conversation turns serious, however, to the fact that Janine feels like they are caged in the Beyond Corporation. She feels silly since, this is so nice and better than what, she was in. And technically, she's still serving her sentence. She's still a prisoner.
Yeah.
And better a gilded cage than what she was in, but something still feels very unsettling to her. She, her own inner spider sense, if you will, is kind of
Janine sense. Her Janine sense, yeah.
Janine sense is not well, because it's the thing in the back of your head where things feel uneasy. But before Ben and Janine can really talk about it, he gets a call to go be Spider-Man. So Ben runs off and he finds Morbius doing vampire things. And when he asks him if he was responsible for all of these hopefully not dead bodies on the ground, Morbius rushes him, and Ben tries to keep his distance to just subdue Morbius while asking him what is going on, but he just doesn't know vampire growls as a language yet, so it's a little hard to understand. They continue to fight, and as Ben is distracted by not finding a pulse on one of the bodies, Morbius is able to get close enough to punch Ben right in the face and drink his blood while he's stunned. This is a strange take on Twilight, but all right, and to be continued.
Oh, yeah, that's a weird-looking panel. Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your grade on this one?
I gave it a B- because I like the art much better in this issue. Sarah Bocelli knocked it out of the park. But we'll go into my pros and cons to explain that.
All right, Craig, what's your grade on this?
This gets a D.
Okay. Tyler, what's your grade?
I go straight C.
Neil?
Straight C as well. Kelly and I will have words on the art later.
C- out of me. Kelly, pros.
My pro was mainly the art. I thought that this is some of Sarah's best work, actually, at least from what I've seen of her. Mostly because it's from this issue alone, it's very clear she phoned in about half of the issues off Abrams' Man. Because MJ and Aunt May's faces are, especially in the close-ups, are very, very pretty to me. I really liked it a lot. I think Kelly Thompson it has a really good voice for Amazing Spider-Man, not necessarily with Ben. Like, I would like to see her take on Peter and MJ, because I thought the way she had Aunt May act, which is also how she's acted so far with all of this brain trust, and she's acting very much of herself and having that gumption that we've talked about for so long about how Aunt May has gumption, but we've never seen it since the 80s. So
Aunt May's gumption.
Yeah, we really have. I mean, maybe a little bit in the late 90s, but I feel like she got the wind knocked out of her when she died the first time.
That's true. You were talking about the art on Aunt May. There was one panel that I thought was just really weird. What is Aunt May's lips doing? What is that?
I think she's pouting, but she's supposed to. She looks older. This is my thing. Is they didn't she doesn't look young. She looks like she's supposed to look. She's supposed to be older.
She put on some pounds.
Well, I think even
not in Bocelli's version.
Yeah, no, she has an old woman body, but she's very slim in this version versus the last issue. She was 40 pounds heavier.
Just that panel throws me.
She got big sad because of Peter, and she lost all that weight.
I guess so. But I mean, I really enjoy Kelly Thompson's writing. I think this was very clear. And like I said, I'm noticing a theme of all of this is like reminding Ben he's not, like we're it's almost like everybody is reminding Ben that he's not giving it his all, even though he thinks he is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just clear that like he's just not the right person for this job. He's also dealing with clearly like he's losing his implanted memories, and Janine reminding them that like they're trapped here, like the Beyond Corporation owns them, is just kind of, he's still Ben and he doesn't want to admit these things to himself yet, but like we're starting to see those cracks where he's eventually going to have to, he's going to have to deal with it himself and really understand that this was such a mistake on his end. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm liking those aspects of the story. I'm liking the fact that like we're seeing characters act like they should be acting. I don't see anybody remotely wildly out of character, which is the first time in a long time.
I'll give you that.
But it's, it's still not my favorite story.
Same.
Which
Same.
we'll get into when we start talking about cons.
What's some other pros from the panel?
Well, I have some. Just
Okay.
something I like. Kelly mentioned all the background gags at the Beyond Corp, and I really enjoyed those. Like, I'm someone who loves Next Wave, which is where Beyond Corp originates from, and there are some straight up callbacks to it, like the Killer Drop Bears. Like those attack the people in Next Wave, and it's like the same art style. Yeah, it's like evil koala bear, and so it's like
the sandwich department.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
is that the koala bear in the back there, right there?
Nope.
No. It's in another
it's a different panel.
But see, and that's my thing. That's why, and that's why, like, I just got.
Sorry.
I think Kelly Thompson hit this out of the park, and why I really can't give it too low of a grade, because I think with what they have to deal with what the story was handed to them as, I think that, the research was done as best as it could be, and you can clearly see that on the page.
Here, I think I found the bear.
Broccoli Man.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, yep. There you go.
So I'm a big fan of Next Wave, so I love hearing all these references about Broccoli Men.
Any other pros?
Yeah, actually, Mr. Comics kind of pointed one. This is a small one, but Black Cat kind of dropping in check on Peter. It's expanded on more in the next issue.
Yes.
Spoilers, but it's kind of like a neat hint at things to come. I think Thompson's dialogue kind of falters in some places for me, but I think in terms of pacing and the character dynamics themselves, they're on point. I thought Kelly's pose was gonna like tip over and just fall.
I mean, it did.
But like completely behind the couch. I don't know. I've kind of had a weird way of describing it, but Kelly Thompson is kind of like Joss Whedon dialogue in some aspects, and it's not that it's like it's bad. It's just like it feels like I've seen it too much from the MCU. Now I'm just kind of tired of seeing it in comics now.
Yeah.
Well, I think she got into the habit with Deadpool. And I don't think she's quite gotten out of it, because she'll still do it in Black Widow sometimes too, and
Captain Marvel sometimes, and that's
I
think all we need is Jeff the Land Shark, and Wilby's got the Kelly Thompson trifecta.
Okay, here's my thing: Kelly Thompson could do ASM, and because Gog needs a friend, MJ the dog, Jeff the Land Shark.
Wow.
Jeff the Land Shark and Gog could hang out together.
Yeah.
Who's feeding Gog, by the way? Who's feeding him?
Probably MJ. Still.
Kindred.
Kindred is feeding him in hell. Yeah. There you go. Any other pros for mood cons?
Aunt May decided. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Aunt May just not to just sit around. She's got to go and contact someone, and we kind of know who that she's going to from the previews. But I like that she's being proactive.
Craig, something you mentioned on your review previously is right here. It now doesn't say Peter Parker on the opening.
Yes.
It says Ben Reilly. That's a con. This is officially a Ben Reilly book now, right?
And after the tragic death of his uncle Ben Reilly understood it. I'm like, no, Ben Reilly did not exist when Uncle Ben was alive. I mean,
I feel like that's but that's deliberate, I think.
Yeah,
I
I
think
know.
it's deliberate too, because like I said,
Yeah.
starting to lose his memories.
Mhm.
At least that could just be a throwaway, but like what I feel like is that's probably going to be the start of Ben kind of realizing. I think that this is ultimately going to end where Ben's going to kind of, even though it feels a little bit of reverting, he's kind of going to be like, okay, I can't remember anything now, and so now he officially has to be his own person.
Mhm.
If that makes sense, like we'll see.
I guess. All right, we ready for the next one?
Oh, we're doing cons yet?
Cons.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hit me with cons.
Okay.
Who were
You
you
go
gonna
first.
start?
You go first.
Okay.
This is your book.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, I don't have a lot in terms of like this issue as it stands alone. But I do slightly feel like things are very. I already have a feeling like I'm already exhausted by this story. So I feel like it's already going to run long. We're going to feel like it runs too long, even though we know when it ends. We know that it's not too far off. But it's just, to me, it's like I said, I've said it earlier. I'll say it again. We've said it plenty of times. This feels like filler until they can find someone who can tell Peter's next story. And I like the fact that they are doing this with Ben over Peter. Like, I really do. I really do prefer that, because as much as like, yeah, it kind of sucks he's in a coma. The thing is that whatever they decide to do to make things big and grand and help sell the comic, it's not happening to Peter.
Yep.
So that to me is good. I think that it's almost basically, think of it like he's finally getting a vacation, you guys. Like he's chilling out.
Yeah, but our wallets aren't. Well,
I know.
George's is, and JR's
Well,
is.
see, and here's my thing, and that's
He's
the
getting
way
his pension.
I feel. Yeah, and that's kind of the way I feel about it. Like I don't want to really read this. I don't want, I'm doing it for you guys, but like I would probably stop too if we weren't recording stuff. But I don't like these stories. I don't like when Ben's the focal point. I never really have, which is funny considering I love Mayday and I love MC2, but that's because she's Peter's daughter. I like Peter and his side characters, like his supporting characters, his supporting team. Spider-Man, but I do like the fact that like this story ultimately is being, Spider-Man isn't the tech and the money and the power that Beyond Corporation can give to Ben. They're kind of, they're showing that it's going to be the man behind this, that makes the suit and makes the hero. I just wish it wasn't so drawn out at this point. But like I said, I love the creative team on this issue. I really can't say that for every other issue, especially going forward. Like, I think we've mentioned Zeb Wells. I'm not a super fan, but I want more Peter and MJ and Aunt May. Ben and Janine can be supporting players moving forward, but I don't think that they can carry the emotional weight that our regular leads normally can. And like, we don't have that attachment to them. So
Peter's a supporting character in his own book, and those are the best parts of this book. I think everyone would agree. The Aunt May and the Mary Jane. Exactly, 2 pages. A con out of me was, oh my gosh, did I just forget it? Oh yes, this feels very much like the Brain Trust 10 years ago, and the fact that you read one issue, and the next one is like we're starting fresh. I expected to see the UFOs at the top. I didn't think that fight was over. And it was like, oh, we got a new artist, we got a new writer, we got to start fresh from a brand new story. There's
don't worry, he beat them.
Where?
Where?
Well,
don't worry about it.
It's kind of implied that he was going to win.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, I read all 3 of these issues in one setting, and it was very jarring from one issue to the next. I'm like, wait a minute, they were just getting started with the UFO fight. Now we're doing training with Misty and Colleen. I'm like, wait a minute. And then I looked, oh, it's a new writer. Yeah. And it was very jarring as a reader.
So I have
big con for me.
So I have 2 cons. The first is the art, and I know Kelly and I are kind of going to disagree on this. I think Pichelli's problem is her colorist. The line art is technically fairly good. I think it was Nolan Woodard does the colors for this.
Yeah, it was Nolan.
Arc. Yeah, I think Pichelli's art has not necessarily taken a nosedive, but it's definitely dropped in quality after Justin Ponzer died. Because he always brought a certain spark of life into almost anything he colored. and I feel like that's just missing. If for whatever reason, if either feels very oversaturated or just kind of incomplete, and I think Ponzor was like the missing link that kind of brought Bocelli's art together full circle. And maybe I'm just being a negative Nancy on that end.
I
I'm
think
kind of. Go ahead, Kelly.
so the way I feel like Sarah Pacelli isn't like the most classic of comic book artists. So the thing that really makes and breaks her inks, like her pencils, is a colorist. And so I can agree with Neil on this. Like, I don't necessarily have, like, I can kind of see through that, but you know, I know not everybody can, and you have to take it as a whole. And you know,
I'm kind of with Neil on this. I liked Gleason's art on the previous issue. Pacelli, I had flashbacks of Abrams Man.
Yeah.
it's not her fault.
No,
was
it's
a
not.
paid
It's
job.
not her fault. It's
And
not her
all-
fault. But
and-
I went back there. I'm like, oh, this reminds me of something. Oh, I know what that is.
And also, this is kind of a small nitpick, but Ben looks really weird, like with the weird curly hair. Like
Yeah.
I kind of like the weird, like frosted tip douchebag look he had in the last 2 issues.
You can go into a barber and ask
Yeah.
for that cut. Here, a couple questions from chat. Mr. Comic says, if I wasn't an ASM completist, I'd be doing what JR is doing and say, see you at 900. I'm with you, Mr. Comics. He also has a question for us. What do we think of the new logo for the Beyond issues of Amazing Spider-Man? You guys like it? It's very
Crap.
much like Miles.
It is Miles's. They
Yeah,
basically
it's
just took
literally
it.
his. Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the covers, it says Beyond Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. Are they going to continue this and say Chapter 47, Chapter 48?
We know it's only 19 issues.
Yeah,
so-
it's
Oh,
only
19
19
issues?
issues.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, Kelly, you were talking about where we're padding it out till we get to 900, but we're also padding it out with what comes out this coming week, which is a Bay issue.
Oh
Not
yeah, well,
BAE, but BEY for
Yeah.
Beyond.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the
Beyblade.
thing is this isn't going that long. Like we've said, like they've established it's only going to go 19 issues plus those side
days.
books. But
Yeah.
you know, that's going to be more than, you know, that's really not that long.
Yeah.
It's what, about a year, maybe less, I think.
6
technically.
months.
Yeah, 6 months.
So by the time we're in May?
by the
May,
summer,
by the summer, we'll have a new writer, hopefully.
Jim
And
McKay, let's go, boys!
and Peter gets the bill. Can you imagine being in the hospital for 6 months in the United States and that bill?
I love how this entire.
That's
I
how we
love how
started the show. Yeah.
I love how this
and I-
entire episode has just devolved into a critique of American healthcare.
Ben
I
better
didn't
steal
really
some health
give any
options and pay
pros
for
or
Peter's
cons.
bill.
Or I didn't.
Oh, Tyler, go
I
ahead.
didn't really
Sorry,
give
man.
any. Yeah, I didn't really give any cons. I don't really have a whole lot. Just that I gave this issue a C, and there
Yeah.
wasn't a lot that interested me. There wasn't a lot that I
Same.
disliked. Sort of middle of
Oh,
the
no.
road. It's just I've never been a huge fan of Morbius, to be honest, and I know he got the wings in the last miniseries, but I really hate them. They look so dumb. These little
He's
tiny
supposed to
wings off his
glide,
shoulders.
not-
I
yeah.
can't
I was going
stand
to
it.
ask what happened
Oh,
where those wings came from.
This was my other complaint.
Yeah.
That I kind of running off of what Tyler said. I am not a huge Morbius fan, and to be honest, Morbius kind of only has 2 stories in the modern zeitgeist, which
Okay.
is Morbius gets a cure or Morbius bites someone. Those are the only 2 stories anyone ever does with him.
well, and what is he doing here? Biting
He
people,
bites Ben.
One.
screaming at people. You know, he's got a movie coming out. He's got to do something.
It looks like he's trying to cure himself because he seems like I need your blood. So maybe it is
Well,
both of those
that's-
stories.
Yeah.
And you left
Well-
off.
he's
story
using
number
he's using
3.
both stories.
You left
Both
off story number
stories in
3. Morbius gets
We'll
eaten by
talk about
sharks.
that. Yeah, and we'll talk about
Mar-
that in the next.
Mary says that the huh and the lure issues weren't Spencer's fault. I see. Yes,
Nope.
they like those little side issues, make you keep buying them, Mary.
give me more money.
Money is king.
Money,
That's
money.
The whole point.
Oh baby, show me the money.
Oh wow.
I want to die.
Okay, we're good. All right, Tyler, you ready to wrap it up with this issue? You
Okay.
love Morbius, I hear.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a movie coming out, so
It's got a
gotta
good
be in
cover,
the
so
book.
it's got a good cover, so it's got to get at least a B out of you.
It does have a good. By the
Yeah,
way,
that-
Arthur Adams is one of my all-time favorite Marvel artists, and he's killing it on the covers, isn't he? I think
I got
he
an
is.
Agent Venom cover signed by him for Secret Avengers.
Oh, nice. I love Arthur Adams. I've loved his stuff since the Long Shot mini in the 80s. So
He's consistently done. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was just gonna say this cover reminds me of I think back during Brand New Day they had 3 or 4 issues in a row where it was like Spider-Man 24/7, where he was hanging on the sides like of coffee places and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what what this cover reminded me of.
I think that was a Casada cover you're referencing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've liked the covers that they've done so far.
I have too.
For
They've been
Beyond.
consistent. They've been consistently the best part of this Beyond gimmick so far.
True.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, take me through it, Tyler.
All right, so same creative team, and we just pick up right where we left off. Morbius and Spider-Man still fighting. He got bit, but he manages to back off, and the suit seemed to sort of mitigate the damage, but the fangs definitely still got through, and so he's bleeding pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so Morbius seems didn't really work out for him. He was expecting something a little different, I guess. And Ben is sort of guessing, like, was he trying to use my blood as a cure? Because I feel like Morbius has done that a couple times. So, but yeah, so Spider-Man's kind of getting woozy, and he's dodged Morbius, but he knows he's like, I don't really know if I'm up for this fight. I just can't just leave him here though. He's like, oh, I kind of got an idea, and so he plays chase with Morbius. Morbius flying after him. So Ben runs home to his apartment.
Like a scared little clone. Yep.
Yeah, but so because his Beyond apartment has all these security mechanisms, as soon as Morbius tries to step in, he gets his arm lasered off.
Best part of the
right
issue.
off.
Best part of the Morbius loses a limb.
I literally laughed
yeah.
out loud when I saw that panel. Sorry.
Yeah, how's he's gonna have to go to Kurt Connors to get another arm? I mean, what's gonna happen here?
Lizard vampire.
Yeah.
Lizard vampire coming soon.
Yeah.
Morbius,
But
living lizard.
Well, then I like Ben's reaction here after it happens. He goes, "No, like, what do you think was gonna happen, Ben?"
Well, no, he's telling Morbius not to run away. Like,
Yeah.
Morbius, come back here, come back into the laser. Let me kill you once and
Come
for
back
all.
so we can laser your other arm off.
Let me get the other arm. Yeah.
Let me get them wings, boy.
I mean,
Oh,
I think, in seriousness, I think Ben was trying to say no, like I could get you help, but he doesn't do a whole lot to really stop him.
To be fair, he does like faint right after.
It's just a
That's true.
flesh wound, says Venkman. That's funny.
I mean, Morbius didn't die, so it really was.
No.
No.
Yeah, I mean, losing an arm isn't a vampire's weakness, even if Morbius
And
is
Ben
a living
can't take
vampire.
blood, evidently, so he faints. There you go.
Yeah.
Morbius just jumps on the building. Oh, I'm so sad.
Yeah. So then they're just picking up the pieces of Morbius, including a nipple, I guess, that fell off at some point.
What
Hey,
was
hey,
the point
hey.
of that joke? Like,
I don't
what?
know, but I do want to state,
weird.
after, he clearly, he got bitten, which was like Morbius, showing his love, because like I said, this is a better story. Like, this is a better version of Twilight than 50 Shades of Grey, really.
Yeah.
But,
But the whole line about the nipple. Oh, barf,
Yeah.
I think there's a nipple in this bit. Bag it. I hate you. He's the
guys hate
Marvel
their jobs.
Universe nipple man from now on, is what that dude is.
The purple
Got a
nurpler.
nipple collection.
Purple nurple.
These two guys are I'm wondering, is Damage Control hiring? I really don't want to work here anymore.
Previous experience picked up Morbius's nipple.
Yeah.
You're hired at Damage Control.
What is? Hang on. What is that? I context clues. Is that the nipple?
no.
I assume it's the.
His finger?
That's a big nipple if it's a nipple.
I mean, it could. I assume it's just like a part of the chest that's been shaved off that has the nipple on it somewhere.
Well, from what it looks like, I don't think that's the one with the nipple, because clearly it's the other guy with the other bag.
All right, yeah.
That's just like
Did I
bits of
actually-
flesh.
Did I actually break Brad by asking if that was the nipple?
I'll be quoting that in the book for years.
I've never heard a quote. Is that
Random
the nipple?
Morbius flesh chunk number 4.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
In the morgue, here's just nipple article 4B.
Nipple from
Do
Morbius.
you think they put a little tag around it, like a toe in the morgue? Just nipple.
Oh, gross. Nipple tag.
Subject Michael Morbius.
Yes.
Oh,
Vampire
All right.
nipple.
Vampire nipple. All right.
Again,
That's almost
better,
like
better love
Wait,
story than
that
Twilight.
sounds like something. Wait a minute, vampire nipples sounds like something the Beyond Corporation would actually manufacture.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
moving
the
on,
romance
Tyler. Go
novel
ahead.
line.
Vampire Nipple
Okay.
sounds like a music group.
So then we get Janine sort of like she wants to follow Ben as the Beyond Corp take him away to make him better. And but they're like, sorry, Janine. By the way, remember this is a prison. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Have fun in
So-
super jail.
Yeah. Look at
Yeah,
poor Janine.
pretty much,
She's
she's-
like,
yeah,
I've only had 4 issues.
yeah.
What does Janine do all day? I wonder.
So, think about how little
Read.
character she has.
Got some good magazines.
Can she leave the building?
Oh, she was reading like a book. She was probably
I
reading
don't
Twilight.
think she. No,
There
I
you
don't
go.
think she can leave the building because
She's
again,
reading-
this is still a
She's reading
cage.
50, she's reading
She-
50
Not
Shades. She
without
thinks it's
Ben.
the sequel.
You
She
guys
can
are,
only-
she's so sad.
Yeah, she can only leave if she's with Ben, because we'll
Yeah.
see this
Yeah.
later on. But that was what was
Yeah.
said in her little short. Before we started all this,
Right, the
that
backup, yeah.
basically,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah.
backup. All she has, the stipulations of her leaving the jail is technically she's still serving her sentence with the Beyond Corporation, and this
Mhm.
is her prison, and she can only leave with a Beyond representative, which is
The
Ben.
chaperone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay. Go ahead, Tyler. We're taking the suit off.
Okay,
Tyler.
perfect. My
Okay.
If you
internet hiccup.
freeze.
Sorry,
Vampire-
my
vampire
internet
versus
hiccup
nipple.
for a second.
Okay.
Can you
You're
hear me?
back. Yeah, you're back.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, my internet hiccup.
Mhm.
All right, so yeah, they're taking the suit off like it's an Iron Man suit, I guess,
Yeah.
because it's Beyond Corp. And as they're like ready to inject the vampire antitoxin, I guess, which they have for some reason because it's Beyond Corp. Maxine is like, hold up a second. What if he turns into a vampire Spider-Man like that toy? It's like that action figure from the
Like that
90s.
Toy Biz action figure.
Can we make
Yeah.
it's like Doctor, one moment. What if we made a toy out of him? A vampire Spider-Man, if you will. A limited edition.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
Look at
so
the look
funny.
at the look at the look on the face of the bald doctor in the first panel there on that page. He looks like, what the hell is she saying? Like,
I know.
I don't know. In the
Yeah.
page that Brad had pulled up, he didn't have a face.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, but-
Here, I
Oh,
got the.
but-
Let's see.
It's like
There's
in that
the
first
first-
panel on that page.
There you go. There's the
I'm
bald
well aware
doctor.
they're a wrist doctor. Yeah, the look on his
Yeah.
face is like, what?
This
Damn,
pink-haired
John-
girl's crazy.
I love how
Yeah,
John I love how John Cryer is just questioning her every move.
Oh, that is a good John Cryer. That's pretty good. Fresh off Supergirl. Yeah.
So Maxine is being all sorts of unethical, and the doctors are like, are you sure?" And
Yeah,
then she finally
pretty
backs
good.
off. She's like, "Okay, fine, just make him better." But
Mhm.
but yeah, and so then anyway, we switch over back to Peter.
The
Peter's
parts
back in
we
the book.
care about. Yeah.
The good part.
Still in the hospital, still in a coma, and we got Black Cat sneaking in through the window,
Yeah.
and she's feeling bad about him being in a coma too.
She's
And so-
crying. Aw. Maybe it's because she's seeing his face. Remember? She can't stand the sight of Peter's face.
Put your
Nah,
mask
she hasn't
back
been
on.
like
She
that,
just
though.
like she just
She
pulled, she
hasn't
brought
been like that
Put
so
your
much.
mask back
I
on.
like I love that she like just brought a spare match, just like pull over his face while the breathing mask is on. This is what you
Well,
deserve.
The last time he pulled off his mask for her, she was very thankful in the Spencer run. Thank you very
True.
much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right. So yeah, so she says, "Come back to me, Spider," and then she whispers something to him, and MJ comes in at the room just at that moment to see it, and Peter's eye opens and his finger moves for a second, and
Yeah.
Felicia gasps, and before he just closes his eye once again, and MJ runs to the room. She's like, "Oh, Peter, Peter!" They're both shouting his name, but no response anymore. And so Felicia apologizes, and it's a little awkward between them because it's like, okay, well, he woke up for you. How does that make me feel? But then I
Real
kind of like
quick-
the response here where,
Oh, go ahead.
Nope.
Go ahead, Tyler. Go ahead. Sorry.
well, I kind of really like the response here where MJ's just like, no, it's fine, just go get changed so someone doesn't come into the Black Hat in the room.
Yes.
And
that
then
was
she
funny.
says, And then she says, "Come on, Tiger. I know you're in there. How many more love interests you want me to get in this room?
That was
You want
awesome.
Sissy Ironwood?
Sissy
Felicia!
Ironwood, damn it.
Sissy
Felicia,
Ironwood,
assemble the
yeah.
harem.
Yeah.
So-
I'll get
May.
Silk. I'll get Betty. I'll get everybody."
I know, right?
I'll get Captain Marvel so Kelly Thompson can write her here too.
There's clones of Gwen somewhere. You need the Stacy twins again? Come on. I
You want me to
can
get
do it.
Jill? I'll get Jill.
Jill Stacy, yes. Here, before you
Close
proceed,
enough.
Tyler, Neil had a question before he started recording. What does everyone think that Felicia whispered in the
And here's the
into his
catch:
ear?
wrong answers only.
Okay.
Oh, okay, good. I think she whispered, "Sir, this isn't a McDonald's or a Wendy's."
This is not a Wendy's. This is a Wendy's.
She said, "Peter, if you wake up, I'll let you touch my boob."
No, I got it. Did you know we just chopped off Morbius's nipple? That's what she said to him.
Hey, so I was looking at Beyond Tower and I saw Morbius's nipple on the floor. They
Morbius's
did.
nipple. If
That
you
guy
come
didn't
back,
get it.
You can see it. Yeah.
She's saying, Peter,
no,
She's saying, Peter, I need that $10 you loaned me.
Hey, Peter, if you wake up right now, I'll talk to MJ about doing that thing for your birthday.
Chat. Ooh, chat.
That
feel
might
free to-
actually be what happened, though.
I've got a milk bath waiting. Chat, if you would like to chime in on this
This is
panel,
bad.
what is Felicia whispering in Peter's ear? I'll put them up on the screen if they're school appropriate. I don't know.
I mean, we
Just like
kind
the
of.
ones we just did.
You will make me remember everything, says TK
Yes.
Tunstall. All right.
Everything.
We'll wait
From it.
for them to catch up with when we just said it.
Mhm.
But that's pretty funny.
All
Good
right,
job, Neil.
So, in
Hey-
the
hate to-
meantime,
Here, let's
Nope.
wait just a little bit, Tyler. Let's see if people are
Okay.
typing. I can hear them typing through the internet. Oh, Mr.
Or is it like
Peter, I forgot my top. That's what.
is it like Carnage where like Brad can just look into the internet with his face? Or
Yes, I'm doing what Carnage does and Tyler loves. I'm going into the internet. SoFlo says, "I know Gwen is your true love," is what Felicia says.
Lies.
To him.
I saw what Norma did to Gwen. Kendrick can't convince you
wrong
otherwise.
Oh, Shane, I will wake you up in that special way. No.
Oh,
you invited
Mary
this,
says,
Brad.
Peter, I have Nick Spencer's true script ending. Yes. Mary wins.
That's good.
Mary wins.
that woke me out of my coma.
Yep.
You want your
Here's
$10
a-
back? Here's Nick Spencer's real script. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that, Mary. Okay, Tyler, go ahead, man.
Yeah, that's
Mary
the winner.
wins.
All right. So
Yeah.
we switch back over to Colleen and Misty, and they've tracked Morbius down, and so they're fighting
Sans
him.
nipple.
Yeah, he is missing a nipple.
Yeah.
So yeah, they realize Beyond sort of did this to him. They're like, they don't think Spider-Man did this, even though, I mean, Spider-Man is sort of technically responsible. Anyway, they managed to beat him up and successfully detain him.
Yeah.
And but then all of a sudden, right after they detain him, we get an art change, and then
Yeah, true.
suddenly
Oh no!
suddenly one of the Beyond drones that's watching them suddenly gets blasted, and all the
Oh, yeah.
drones get blasted.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere comes Monica Rambeau,
Yeah.
Spectrum, or is it Photon? I don't know. She's got so many names. She goes
It's
by. I'll spell
Marvel.
Monica.
It's Monica.
Yeah, so
Just Monica.
it's Monica.
Monica works for me.
So yeah, and so basically, she's here because she does not trust the Beyond Corporation at all, and turns out Misty and Colleen are sort of working for Beyond specifically to get info on them for for Monica.
Now that
And
was
I
kind of cool.
really like that. Yeah,
I
because
agree.
Too.
Monica specifically has a lot of history with the Beyond Corp. Not only with Next Wave, but also in the Mighty Avengers. So I very much like her showing up.
Next wave, bros. Let's go.
Yeah. Anyway, and then we cut back to Ben, who's just I guess he's just fully better. And
Do
then
you see
he's
what
just
the musical is playing? Stegman,
Yes.
the comedy.
Stegman, a comedy.
Stagger on the comedy.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be
Got it
good.
wrong.
Stegman is a joke, apparently. So I feel like that was a Zdarsky probably asked him to put that sign in.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he went to Stegman the comedy with Janine. They saw a movie, and I guess it's kind of weird how they don't talk about him being bitten by a vampire at all. But anyway,
I mean,
Why not?
she was more like, I'm just glad that you're alive and you're here. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's true.
and I get to get out of the house.
I really
thinking
thought.
about-
Sorry,
What, Craig?
I really thought this page was just Ben dreaming, and he was still in a like unconscious.
I was
Like,
I was
it's such a shift. All of a sudden, oh wait, I guess Ben's better, and he's out, and it's like
It's
a couple days later, maybe.
Such
I
a
thought,
shift.
like,
There's a new art team. Yeah.
yeah.
I was kind of hoping to be like a reveal that like Ben got his mind wiped or something from the encounter, and Jeannie's like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, and then just before they kiss, when they say "I love you," or just as they do it, turns out Craven's being a creeper and watching all this, and he
He
says,
learned that
"Oh,
from
those-"
Kane.
From the
and
shadows.
he says something very un-Craven-like. He says, "How sweet." But those crazy kids probably should make a goodbye kiss. That doesn't seem like a Craven thing to say.
Especially if this is a younger Craven. He's not that old now.
He's a clone.
Yeah.
He's clone 27,
He's Craven
Oh, no.
80. He's Craven 87.
87.
Well,
That's
I mean-
Ben's. Yeah.
if he's hanging out with Baron Zemo, maybe that's why.
Yeah, I mean, it is the Savage
Karen
Spider-Man
Emo?
now, so that would be a place for Craven.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So Tyler, what's your grade on this one?
I'm actually going to give this a B.
Okay.
Because...
Neil. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's a fine. Let's get the grades out first before
Yeah.
pros.
So we got a B. You said.
Yep.
Neil.
What did I give the last one? I gave it like a C,
You
right?
gave it a B, I think.
Oh, did I? I'll put it B minus then.
Okay, Kelly.
I gave it a B plus, but literally only because Monica, Misty, and Coley.
That's fair.
And Ben continues to look stupid. Is in my notes.
B for Ben Stupid. Yeah. Craig, what's your grade on it?
I hate to be the most negative person because I think I was on the last one, but I don't think this is better than the last one, so I have to give this a D as well.
Yeah.
I'll
give it a
not
C
liking this.
minus out of me. The only good parts, again, Felicia and Mary Jane and Peter.
What about Monica, Colleen, and Misty? Do you not like that, or
Not really. I mean, it's Spider-Man's
jeez.
story.
I mean,
this
but-
isn't Marvel Team Up.
True, but if they wind up making Ben look really stupid,
Well,
That's a positive.
That's a pro.
Yeah.
It'll go up if they make him look like an idiot. I'll give you that. All right, Tyler, pros. What did you like about it? You gave it a pretty good grade.
Okay. Yeah, pros. I mean, first off, we got to start with that MJ and Felicia scene. That scene's great. I love them
is.
talking again.
Yeah.
And just it's very playful, and the line she says about getting all the other love interests,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a lot
that's
of fun.
A great line.
And
yeah, it's a great
yeah,
line.
and it makes me very excited to see what Jed's gonna do with them in the one shot with
Mhm.
Mary Jane Black
yeah.
Cat.
yeah, boy?
So
Yeah.
so
That's a great
I
line.
love that. Yeah, and then but then again I do like seeing the Beyond Corporation being like mustache twirlingly evil here. It I mean, it's straight up like, what if we have like a spider vampire? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's so ridiculous, and I just love how blatant they are about it. And so,
Mhm.
obviously, this is going to come to a head at this point, and I love that they are foreshadowing it so badly. Like, yeah, by the way, these are the bad guys.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and again, like I said, I love Monica showing up here.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect way to tie into the Beyond Corp, and again show that they are fully the bad guys. And so I'm interested, and I love Monica as a character. She's probably one of my favorite female Marvel characters in general. So and
Mine
just
too.
yeah, so I would say this is my favorite issue of the batch. So
Mhm.
What about this scene? Come on, that's a pro, isn't it? The nipple scene. Morbius loses a nipple. Pro.
That was weird.
It
I
was
didn't
weird.
No one needed to know that his nipple fell off.
This
Like-
is what I meant.
Anyway.
This is what I meant by like Josh Whedon tier dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you
He
that.
makes like these weird, oddly specific like organ joke. Hey guys, look, there's a nipple. Whoa, I'm clever.
Yeah, like, hey, look at these two background characters working like a crappy job, but look, we got to pick up dead body parts. Oh,
That
look, there's a
man is
nipple in this
playing
one.
Galaga.
Oh yeah.
And we didn't think we noticed, but we did.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You guys aren't funny.
Yeah.
Please clap.
Jeb,
Any other pros?
I mean,
But
really,
yeah,
I think those were the major pros. I will say that
Yeah.
I do think Janine is definitely being set up as the, I think Ben is kind of able to tune everybody else out because he wants to believe what he wants to believe.
Yeah.
And Janine's going to be that person that's going to show him this was a giant mistake. I'm a little afraid that they're going to use they're clearly going to use Janine as some kind of cannon fodder to hold above him for a while. Like more than likely, like once he gets wise to it, they're going to basically hold her hostage because they literally bought her from the U.S. prison system.
Yep. They basically own her.
Yeah, so it's
get back in your box.
Yeah, I don't know how severe that's going to be, but they're very clearly setting it up where she's going to try and say something to him. He's going to try to help her escape, and bad consequences are going to happen. So
We can kind of see it from like a mile away. Yeah.
yeah, so I think that that's just kind of what we're going to see. Obviously, I don't think that's going to be from Craven. It's weird that they're having him like, he almost has like a villain of the week feel in his run right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is I'm just looking through my pros. When Maxine Danger was called Director Danger, that made me laugh. I don't know why. Just the fact that her name is Maxine Danger and people were calling her Director Danger. I like that Colleen and Misty, it's revealed that they're not just randomly here. They actually have their own agenda, their own plan. So, like I said in the previous issue, why are they here? They have a reason to be here. So that gives me hope for them. And yeah, that's all I had for pros.
We had
I was gonna say that Bocelli's art feels a lot more consistent this issue. I don't know what it is, but like it feels like the line art is a lot more solid and not like all over the place, like some kind of chicken scratch inked.
Yeah.
Maybe Word got his act together in this one.
We have another submission for what Black Cat is whispering. Peter, there's an old woman beating some doctors with a cane, yelling "not good enough" in the hallway.
I mean,
Mr. Comics, so that's pretty good. I like that one.
Accurate.
It's probably what's actually
wrong
happening. We said
Yeah.
you said wrong answers. Yeah.
Cons. Let's move on to cons.
Okay. The art change.
Art change, yes, agreed.
Art change is not great.
So
Yep.
Bennett's unconscious for half the issue.
Yeah.
So this kind of carries over into my criticism of last issue that like Morbius only has 2 stories.
Yep.
Like this is kind of carries on that same problem, but with the addition of like kind of just a lame, oh guys, what if we just let him be a spider vampire creature? It's like the ethics of that, like it's clearly meant to be like setting up Beyond Corporation as the bad guy. It's like, oh, that's a little too transparent, isn't it? Like at this point they've kind of been making more veiled weird suggestions, but this is kind of just a little mask off and kind of giving up the game a little too early.
Well, I mean, too, you saw how everybody else was like, what the hell? Like, what in the world is she talking about? It's very clear setting her up to be the next super big bad. Like, as much as
Maybe she's
not.
Yeah,
And
that's what we said at the top.
Yeah.
She's probably Kelly said she's probably the goblin. Yeah.
I don't know if I said that.
Yeah,
I think
somebody
that was,
said it.
I think I said that she might. Maxine Danger might be the Goblin Queen.
Craig said that, and I mean that's a possibility. I really don't know where they're going with that. I'm kind of wondering how that's going to happen. But that to me is something that they're clearly lining up, that she is going to be this very, very nasty adversary within the Beyond Corporation.
What worries me is like, is this going to be just a Thompson? Is this just going to be a Thompson character where she only shows up when Kelly Thompson's writing, or is she going to be like recurring? Because it just feels like a character that's very like Thompson-esque, and I'm worried that like she'll only appear when Thompson's writing, and like she won't have any other presence aside from when Thompson's writing her.
Right.
Yeah.
Like how Mr. Negative
knows?
only showed up in Slots issues and Brand New Day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, but one con I had as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this is also sort of a con for the last issue. Is that Morbius, like you said, Neil, spinning off what he said, he's just a monster vampire. They needed a bad guy. It didn't have to be Morbius. It's kind of just because of the movie.
This could have been the lizard.
Upcoming movie.
What's his motive
Yeah,
again?
this
To
could've-
get cured? What was his motive in this issue?
He wanted to get
It's
cured,
sort
I
of
guess.
it's only implied that he needs a cure, but it could have been
Okay.
the lizard. It could have been Freak. Even it doesn't
Mhm.
matter.
Oh.
It could have been iguana.
Well, okay.
Yeah, this could have been a
Iguana.
random vampire.
Mind worm.
It doesn't. It's just it's a throwaway.
There was an editor note about if you wanted to see why he was like that, go read his little one shot that they've done, which again was
The
written because
problem
of the
with
movie.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
the problem
No.
is that he was fine by the end of that mini. He had the wings, but he was walking and talking normally, so it doesn't explain even why he's like
No,
that.
not
He-
well. See, but that's the thing is that like, I'm on one hand I'm glad that the editors are doing stuff saying, hey, go see this, go see that, but it's very clear that they're using that of saying, hey, go do this almost as more advertising than an actual
Yes.
context
Yeah.
standard. Because they were doing it with Doctor Strange with an issue that I don't think has come out yet. They were doing it. They did it with Tony Stark in the current Iron Man run, and I think that that's going to kind of continue here. And I am wondering, because of the fact that they knew that this was going to be like a side quest situation while they were working out the next story for Peter after Spencer's run, if an agreement wasn't formed with editorial of saying, okay, here's the villains you guys can use because they have things coming up, or these are considered popular characters that they're looking to put in a movie or other media forms. And that's kind of because, like I said, like we've got our big bad, which is the Beyond Corporation. And so everybody else is feeling like a monster of the week because it's only taking an issue or two and they're done.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of the way that I'm feeling that it is with that rotation. And
Yeah.
I kind of think that was something that was previously agreed on. Whether it's just the brain trust or if that was editorial or if that was marketing, because for all we know, it could be the big mouth saying, hey, do this for advertising purposes.
Give us a new
No.
IP.
When this was written, wasn't Morbius supposed to come out right about now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
probably
Morbius
why
Morbius been
Morbius
delayed
is in
like
it.
3 times.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
all right.
but
Any other cons before we wrap this show up?
I think the pacing of this issue was really slow. Like for whatever reason, like when Ben gets back to Beyond Tower, the plot just kind of grinds to a halt, just so Morbius can get his nipple and arm cut off.
Yeah.
And then, and also the plot also grinds to a halt, so they can make that nipple joke. Like it didn't need to be there, but the entire issue just kind of just slows down so that it can go like, "Ha! Look, guys, nipple." And then it kind of grinds to a halt again, so they can do like the whole Star Trek episode worth of moral dilemma.
Mm.
Do we kill Worf? Do we give Ben the vampire serum? Find out next week.
Let's not and see what happens.
At least it's feeling, you know, where I think Craig was making ties to like soap operas about like people being in comas. This does kind of feel like it's written like a soap opera, like I said, with the
Yeah.
monster of the week, but you have your longer form storyline. You know, it definitely is being written like a drama.
Who they're gonna hire to recast Felicia?
I don't know.
Well, you know, I'm looking at it, and Spider-Man gained an extra page this issue. He was in 2 panels of the last issue. The Black Cat thing is 3 pages in this issue, so we're gaining pages as we go.
And he's unconscious in all of them.
He's unconscious.
Well, he
All right.
opened his eye one.
Yeah.
We did have an issue with Morbius and Felicia in it, but my con is that Morbius did not say Felicia.
I do appreciate how Morbius on the cover looks like he came from where the wild things are.
All right, let's start wrapping it up. Here, I will show you the cover again just to reference what Neil's saying. There you go. Where
Yeah,
the
look,
wild
it,
things are.
yeah, it looks like a Where the Wild Things Are character.
Funny. Okay, final thoughts. Tyler, what's your final thoughts?
Overall, this has ups and downs, but I'm still just left feeling sort of empty based off how
Yes.
Spencer's run ended, and it's just yeah.
We're still. I'm still a little
Oh, I
sad
got
how it
disconnected.
ended, and we're just prodding along until the next best thing comes along. I think. So, Kelly, final thoughts.
I am intrigued, but I am also already exhausted and tired of the story.
3 issues in. I agree. 100%. Craig, final thoughts.
Well, I hated to come in and be so negative on these issues. I wish I really could
Yeah.
love them, but I'm just not interested in this new status quo.
Same.
I'm not going to quit the book. I did back when Superior started, and I was like, no, Peter is Spider-Man, forget it. But as long as Peter is even in for just a couple pages, I'll still pick up the book, but I'm just not looking forward to it.
What's it work out? Peter's in 4 pages. You paid $4. You're paying $1 a page to see Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in Canada. You're paying more for it, aren't you?
Yeah.
What's a comic cost up in Canada these days, by the way?
They used to say they have the American price, Canadian
They
price on it,
did.
but it just says $3.99 US, and it doesn't say a Canadian price. So,
Well, how much did you pay for it?
I think I got this in the Miles issue for like $11.50 or something. So,
Wow. Hornacek says you weren't negative. You were being honest, which is very
Wait,
true.
what? That's Finkman.
What did I say? Did I say Hornacek said?
yes,
I'm saying Vinkman and Hornacek. I'm getting you too confused. Vinkman says Hornacek, you weren't too negative. You were being honest. And
Vinkman,
Chi-Town
he's
says
getting
Hornacek in the
clueless.
house. Cool.
And as Canadians, we are paying $5.80 for this issue.
Here,
Oh,
hold that
wow.
sticker up. Hold that sticker up. Yeah, there you go. Wow.
Yeah.
Great. Here, $5.80.
$5.80.
Wow, bruh. Okay, we got.
Look how much Venom #1 cost me.
Look at that.
$8.35.
$8.35, man. Wow. Wait a minute. No, didn't it cost $10 in US?
Not
Here, I got
#1.
mine right here.
What? No, that was Venom 35.
No.
Oh, I was looking at this guy. I was looking at Venom 1.
Yeah. Venom 1.
Well, it's
Wait, was that-
$9.99. Oh no, it's
What?
It's $5.99. I apologize.
Come on.
Yeah,
That was
Brad.
another $10
Yeah, Venom
book.
Venom number 200 was $10.
Yeah, they can't do
Yeah.
two $10 back to back, can they?
They can if they want
Stranger
to.
No,
Things.
they could.
Stranger-
Yeah, they could.
I was
Stranger
gonna,
things have happened.
these things happen. But for Craig brought up a great point that I think we should end on, which is, this is at least way better than Superior.
True.
Oh.
I dropped the book for Superior. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Superior
I know
did
that
take
the
Peter out
panel-
of the. How many issues did Superior go before we even saw Peter?
he was in
One.
the first. At the end of the first issue. So I remember Jr. reviewed the first issue, and he said I would loved it until the last page where Ghost Peter showed up, and he said, "Luke,
Peter-
I'm your
But
father."
yeah,
And so he
Peter
brought it down.
Peter's Danny Phantoming in his own head, going, "Hey guys, guess what? I'm back."
Yeah. All right, Neil. Final thoughts.
I have no expectations yet. I'm still disappointed. Yeah, there are moments when I was mildly charmed, but this book doesn't stand a chance against my unending pessimism.
And he gives it an Alf. Yeah. Like he did on the
Save
Venom show.
it for the Venom reviews.
Hey, we're going to be back. Patreon members, we're running just a little bit late. We're going to be over on Patreon in about, I'd say we're going to take a 5-10 minute break, probably more like 10 minutes. And we will be back on Patreon. You can see all of us back there reviewing Spider Satellite books there in just a few minutes. So thanks, everybody, for watching. We will see you in just a few minutes.